So most people don't know this, but the city of Mesa, Arizona has an active agreement with ICE called the 287G agreement, and it basically lets local police officers act as ICE from within the jail. If someone gets arrested for something minor, their immigration status can be checked and ICE can ask the jail to hold them longer so they can start deportation proceedings. Now, Mesa says it's only used in jail and not on the streets, but that doesn't make it harmless. People in the community have been showing up to city council meetings calling it out, saying it opens the door to racial profiling, wrongful detentions, and fear in immigrant neighborhoods. The weird thing about all of this is it's completely voluntary. Mesa doesn't have to do this. The city can end the agreement at any given time. So if you live in or near Mesa, reach out to your city council and ask them why your local police are working with ICE at all. Public safety shouldn't depend on your immigration status. You ever notice how the conservative influencer space is basically just a dumping ground for failed careers? Like, if the NFL, Hollywood, or modeling agencies didn't want you, well, congratulations, because Fox News probably does. Take Jeffrey Mead and John McEntee. Both had college football dreams that crashed and burned. McEntee literally threw almost as many interceptions as touchdowns in 2 years, and when the football thing didn't work out, they traded playbooks for politics. Because if you can't win on the field, you can always go play quarterback for the culture war. Then there's Riley Gaines, who tied for 5th place. 5th with a trans swimmer, and has spent every day since making "trans people ruined my career" her whole brand, even though she still would have finished 5th. The only thing she's winning now is attention via Fox News appearances. It's not just athletes, though. Brett Cooper couldn't get traction as an actress. Emily Wilson, failed model. Xavier DeRusso tried to make it on Netflix reality shows. Didn't. Now he's cashing in on outrage per followers and even gets paid $7,000 per post to promote Israeli propaganda. Candace Owens even had an Explore Talent profile because she wasn't trying to save America back then. She was trying to get cast. But when the entertainment industry didn't bite, she pivoted to the only role she could book: professional contrarian. And then there's Megan Eleanor and Savannah Latham, both classic examples of people who couldn't find an audience until they realized bigotry gets engagement. You don't have to be talented, just loud, unhinged, and anti-something. That's the grift. When fame doesn't come easy, fear will. The right-wing machine doesn't recruit winners, it recycles rejects. They couldn't make it in sports, acting, or modeling, so they became professional victims instead. Because if the world didn't clap for you the first time, there's always an audience willing to pay you to hate someone else.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but when the illegals get the benefits, the citizens get the bills. Okay, thank you.
I just think it's funny that someone who has spent time behind bars wants to complain about civilians footing the bill for someone else. Like, you're mad at the idea of undocumented immigrants getting benefits, but when people such as yourself are incarcerated, taxpayers literally fund their food, housing, and healthcare. So if that's really your standard, maybe keep that same energy across the board. It's honestly hilarious how slow you speak, because it's almost like you're trying to keep up with your own lie. You say it with so much confidence, like you've ever read a single policy about what undocumented immigrants actually get. Spoiler, it's nothing. They don't get free benefits. They can't get welfare. They can't get food stamps. They can't get Medicaid. But they do pay billions of dollars in taxes every year through payroll deductions and ITINs. That money goes straight into programs like Social Security and Medicare, which they will never qualify for. And our government is totally fine with it. They'll gladly take the money and never give anything back. So no, they're not getting free benefits, they're funding yours. It will never not be wild to me how confidently people like you spread misinformation when you clearly have no idea what you're talking about.
There's 2 things about this girl that I know, but I just can't prove. Number 1, she uses ChatGPT to script her videos, and number 2, she's going through a manic episode, some sort of episode. You can see it in her eyes, you could see it in the way she talks. She's not mentally well. I think for her own well-being, she needs to get offline, go find a therapist, go find a job, stop begging strangers to pay her rent, and maybe also get a brain while she's at it.
You told me to get a job and find a therapist while also celebrating the fact that I lost my job. So tell me how I am supposed to afford therapy or health insurance without a job. The irony of you saying that while simultaneously telling me to get a brain is certainly something. I have a brain, and mine's capable of critical thinking. Yours runs on recycled talking points and self-righteous delusion. And for someone whose grandparents migrated here from the Philippines, the lack of empathy for people who don't have the same legal access is weird. You constantly sit here parroting deportation rhetoric like your own family wouldn't have been on the receiving end of it not that long ago. The audacity of a woman whose existence in this country is quite literally the product of immigration, mocking others for seeking the same opportunity is peak hypocrisy. So yeah, I'd rather post a GoFundMe than post propaganda. I'd rather be broke with integrity than rich with hate. Because unlike you, I can lose my job and still keep my soul. The same people who went out of their way to get people like me fired for our opinions about Charlie Kirk are now laughing at us for not having jobs. You quite literally spammed our employers and demanded that we be punished for having opinions that hurt your feelings. And now that we actually lost our jobs because of it, you're telling us to get a job. Maybe you should have left our employers alone in the first place because you're the reason we don't have one. And even if we did get another job tomorrow, you'd just try to dox us again the next time we said something you didn't like. And because that demented orange you voted for is doing such a fantastic job right now, I'd like to remind you that there are more unemployed people in this country than there are job openings. So this mass doxing campaign didn't just ruin lives, it made things infinitely worse for people who were just trying to survive and make an honest living. So before you tell someone to just get a job, maybe remember you're the one who advocated for them to lose it. This is the same group of people who call us snowflakes and the same group of people who say words are just words. The same people who excuse racism and hate speech under free speech until it's someone speaking against MAGA. The same people perfectly content contributing $500,000 to a GoFundMe for a white woman who called a little boy the N-word. You can't claim to be the party of free speech while destroying people's livelihoods for using theirs. So apparently the city of Hollandale Beach just declared Xavier DeRusso Day. This is the same influencer who was literally paid $7,000 per post to promote Israel. And in this proclamation, they say he was deeply moved by witnessing a mother comfort her frightened child amid explosions. You would think that meant he was somewhere near a bombing, right? But when he was in Israel, he was poolside, he was clubbing, he was going to fancy restaurants. He wasn't dodging rockets, he was dodging accountability. They are trying so hard to make it sound like some life-changing humanitarian mission, when in reality it was a paid content trip. Xavier, if you're such a champion for Israel, why does it take a paycheck to stand up for them? Because I feel like real conviction doesn't need an invoice. It is insane watching cities hand out proclamations to paid influencers while journalists, aid workers, and actual peace advocates are being ignored. Nothing screams moved by tragedy like turning a genocide into a brand deal.
Sometimes I'm like, Democrats, they can't be that bad, right? They can't be that bad. And then the official Missouri Democratic Party posts this. It's just so embarrassing. Like, you wouldn't catch me doing any of that ever. I mean, it's so weird. It's just weird.
You know, for a party that dubbed liberals as snowflakes, white Republicans will find everything to be upset about except shit that actually matters. You know what I find funny is these same people like Heather who want to clutch their pearls over a silly little costume are dead silent when their own young Republicans are exposed for idolizing Hitler, joking about gas chambers, and spreading Nazi rhetoric in group chats. I don't know, me personally, I'd rather see someone harmlessly make fun of Trump by wearing an accurate representation of what he looks like than see young Republicans glorifying and laughing about genocide. All I'm trying to say is white conservatives get outraged over the wrong shit. You want to cry because a Puerto Rican man is performing at the Super Bowl. They want to cry about respect for Trump, but won't complain about racism, fascism, or the fact that their own party's future leaders are openly fantasizing about hate crimes. If you're more offended by a costume than Nazi jokes, you are what's wrong with this country. Hope this helps.
I want to know what it feels like after men have sex with liberal women. Between boosters, vaccines, SSRIs, antidepressants, and birth control, to be so spiritually just completely disconnected.
SSRIs are antidepressants and boosters are vaccines. You listed the same thing twice, multiple times to make your argument sound deeper.
Most likely a couple abortions in there. The vagina has then become pretty much a graveyard. I just want to know what feels good about that. Is it just the no accountability?
Isn't getting on birth control taking accountability? And if we're on birth control, why would we need abortions? Honestly, if this was a sales pitch, people would buy in because all you did was highlight that we take care of our mental health, we take care of our physical health, and we take care of our sexual health. You are low-key suggesting that Republican women are out here raw-dogging every aspect of life for the sake of spiritual connection. You cannot make this shit up.
And I will keep going to nightclubs, partying, and doing drugs because that's what makes me happy. Honestly, I would fuck your dad, but he doesn't make enough money, so.
Nothing screams spiritual connection like Emily Wilson admitting that if you pay the right price, she will sleep with you. I keep seeing people say that the No Kings protest was pointless, and I honestly can't wrap my head around that. There are people being ripped away from their families, their only crime being that they don't have the right documentation. Meanwhile, there is a felon in office being protected by the same system that punishes people for crossing an imaginary line. We are exercising our First Amendment right while we still have it because we're watching it be stripped away in real time. We showed up, stood together, and protested peacefully, which contradicts the narrative from the right that the left is a violent party. I personally don't even believe borders should exist. The idea that someone's worth or safety should depend on what side of an imaginary line they were born on is fucking stupid. If the only thing that I accomplished by protesting was letting an entire community know that I see them, I stand with them, and that I am on their side, then that is enough for me. While we are funding genocides and turning a blind eye to suffering, the least I can do is speak out. If that is considered pointless, then maybe people forgot what it means to actually care. Silence has never changed a system, but solidarity has shaken every one of them.